Ava stood in the middle of the large mansion. A place filled with expensive things but completely empty of warmth. Her hands were shaking even though she tried her best to look calm. Across from her stood her father, Charles Morgan, a powerful man in the business world, someone people feared. But right now he wasn't acting like a father. He was acting like a man furious at an employee. "Leave my house, Ava. Right now," he shouted, his voice echoing through the marble halls. Ava didn't answer. She had heard that tone too many times in her life. In the corner of the room, her older stepbrother Logan watched everything with a small smile, like he enjoyed seeing her suffer. He didn't even try to hide it. Logan had always been the favorite, the one Charles trusted, the one treated like royalty. Ava, on the other hand, had grown up feeling like she was living in someone else's home. Charles pointed at her with anger shaking in his hands. "You are jeopardizing the family legacy," he said. "You don't follow the rules. You don't respect the hierarchy. You think you know better than me." Ava finally looked up. She wanted to laugh at how wrong he was, but there was no joy left in her. She was the one who had spent years fixing the company's broken systems. She was the one who built the new logistics optimization program, the same program that was about to bring in a massive $900 million international contract. She was the reason the company had hope at all. But her father didn't see any of that. He never did. She didn't argue. She didn't explain. She had learned long ago that explanations didn't matter to him. Instead, she bent down slowly, picked up her laptop bag, and held it close to her chest. Charles expected her to fall apart, to beg, to cry, to prove that she needed him. Logan expected the same. Instead, Ava simply walked past both of them. She didn't look back, not even once. She stepped out of the mansion where she had spent years feeling invisible. The cold air outside felt like freedom. She walked down the long driveway, opened her phone, and typed a single message to the partner corporation that was waiting for the big deal. "Withdraw negotiation. Effective immediately." Her finger hovered for a moment. Then she pressed send. The message was short, simple, and powerful enough to shake the entire business world. It would crush her father's empire. It would bring Morgan Logistics to its knees. And Charles Morgan had absolutely no idea what she had just done. Ava grew up as the daughter Charles never really wanted. She was born to his first wife, a gentle woman who loved Ava deeply. But when Ava was 14, her mother died suddenly, and everything changed. Charles remarried only a few months later, choosing a woman who already had a son, Logan. From the beginning, Charles treated Logan like the perfect child he had always dreamed of, the child who looked strong, confident, and fit to be an heir. Ava, meanwhile, became a shadow in her own home. Even though she lived in a huge mansion, she never felt like she truly belonged there. The halls were silent around her, and the people inside treated her like a guest who stayed too long. She was often kept out of family events. She was told she was too emotional. She was pushed to be perfect in everything she did. Ava learned to survive by working hard. She hid her feelings and put all her energy into studying. Over the years, she turned into a brilliant software engineer who understood logistics systems better than anyone in the family company. When the tech division of Morgan Logistics started failing, Ava quietly fixed the problems and rebuilt the entire department. She created new systems, solved issues no one else could, and slowly became the most important mind in the company. But almost no one gave her credit. Logan, who had no real skill, kept being handed leadership positions. He attended meetings, signed papers, and took the praise that should have been hers. The staff knew Ava was the real brain behind the success, but they were too scared of Charles to say anything. In the present day, Ava's life is filled with endless work. She works 16 hours a day, barely sleeps, and is constantly under pressure. Charles watches her like a hawk, checking every step she takes. He tells her how to run projects even though he doesn't understand them. Logan, threatened by her talent, tries to sabotage her whenever he can, deleting files, spreading rumors, and taking credit for her ideas. Ava feels like she is drowning in a place that should have felt like home. All she really wants is simple independence, recognition for her work, and peace, something she has never truly had. Charles wants something else, total obedience. He wants a daughter who follows orders without question, who stays in her place and never challenges his authority. Logan wants Ava gone. To him, She is the only thing standing between him and full control of the company. In the middle of all this tension, a massive opportunity appears, a $900 million international logistics deal that could change everything. The partner corporation has tested Ava's new algorithm and considers it a groundbreaking creation. It is the heart of the entire contract, and everyone inside Morgan Logistics knows it. Without Ava's work, the deal doesn't exist. For the first time in her life, Ava is at the center of something huge, but she has no idea that this moment will decide her future and her family's downfall. On the morning of a pivotal negotiation, Ava arrived early at the office, ready to finalize the last round of tests for the $900 million deal. She opened her laptop, expecting to see the simulation files she had worked on for months. But her heart dropped. The secure folders were empty. The data she needed, the critical simulations that proved her system worked, had been deleted. Ava checked everything twice, hoping it was just a glitch. But it wasn't. Someone had gone into her protected files and removed the most important work she had ever done. She already knew who it was. Logan. He had tried small things before, moving her reports, taking credit for her ideas. But this time he had crossed a line. Without those files, the entire negotiation could fall apart. Still, Ava took a deep breath and prepared herself. She could explain what happened. She could recreate the data if they gave her time. She could fix this. But Charles never gave her time. When she walked into the boardroom filled with executives, lawyers, and investors, Charles was already irritated. Everyone was waiting for her report. "Show us the final simulations," he demanded. Ava opened her laptop again, hands slightly shaking. "Someone tampered with my files," she said. "The data was deleted this morning. I can recover it, but I need—" Charles cut her off sharply. "Sloppiness," he said loudly, making sure everyone heard. "This is what happens when you give responsibilities to someone who isn't ready." A few executives avoided looking at Ava. Others exchanged uncomfortable glances. Ava felt heat rising in her face, not from embarrassment but from hurt and anger. "I wasn't sloppy," she replied quietly. "I secured the files. Someone accessed them without permission." Charles slammed his hand on the table. "Stop making excuses." Ava tried again. "I'm telling the truth, Logan." Before she could finish, Charles's eyes turned cold. "Of course you blame Logan," he said. "You can't accept your own failures. You always do this, just like your mother." A heavy silence filled the room. Charles leaned forward, his voice sharp and cruel. "You were a mistake your mother left behind." The words hit her like a punch. For a moment, Ava couldn't breathe. She stared at her father, the man who had raised her, the man she had spent her life trying to impress. Something inside her cracked, something she didn't even know was fragile. She closed her laptop and stood up. Nobody spoke as she walked out of the boardroom. Her footsteps echoed behind her, each one louder than Charles's shouting. That night, Ava tried to stay quiet in her room at the mansion, hoping to avoid another fight. But Charles didn't let things go easily. He burst through her door, furious, shouting about respect, responsibility, and loyalty. He blamed her for embarrassing him. He blamed her for the missing files. He blamed her for everything. "You have no right to walk out on me," he shouted. "You live in my house. You work in my company. You follow my rules." Ava sat on the edge of her bed, tired and emotionally drained. Then Charles shouted the words that finally pushed her past the breaking point. "If you can't follow my rules, then leave my house." For years, Ava had stayed because she felt she had no choice. No support. No home outside these walls. No one who cared. But now everything was different. She stood up, looked him in the eyes, and for the first time in her life, she didn't feel afraid. "Fine," she said. And she left. Ava moves into a modest one-bedroom apartment, tasting freedom for the first time in her life. The place is small, quiet, and nothing like the cold mansion she grew up in. Yet she feels lighter just standing in it. She sets her laptop on a simple wooden table, sits on the floor with a cup of tea, and for the first time in years she can breathe without fear. Meanwhile, Charles is certain she will come back within a day or two. In his mind, Ava has always depended on him. He tells himself she will eventually apologize, accept her mistake, and return to her place in the family hierarchy. But days pass and Ava stays silent. Then something unexpected happens. The partner corporation for the $900 million deal sends a formal message. They require Ava specifically to supervise the system integration. They will not move forward without her expertise. When Ava doesn't reply, panic spreads inside Morgan Logistics. Executives whisper in the hallways. Investors start calling nonstop. And Logan, desperate to fix things and protect his position, tries to take control. He enters meetings pretending he understands the system. He opens Ava's documents, clicks through codes he can't read, and gives vague answers. Everyone quickly notices he has no clue what he's talking about. The partner corporation grows suspicious, and the investors grow angry. "Where is Ava?" they demand. Logan stutters, avoids eye contact, and fails to calm anyone down. Pressure builds on Charles from all sides. His empire is shaking, and for the first time in years, he has no idea what to do. So he tries to pull Ava back the only way he knows: manipulation. First, he sends a soft message: "Come home. Let's talk." Ava doesn't reply. Then a firmer one: "You owe your family some respect." Then a harsher one: "Family hierarchy exists for a reason. Logan is the heir. Accept your place." Ava reads the messages one by one, then blocks his number. Every old fear tries to rise inside her. The feeling that she's alone, that she isn't strong enough, that she has no power without the family name. But she reminds herself that she built the entire algorithm. She rebuilt the tech division. She saved the company more times than she can count. It was never them. It was always her. Back at the mansion, Charles keeps losing control. Meetings turn into arguments. Investor confidence drops. The partner corporation threatens to walk away entirely. Then, during a private meeting, Charles's legal advisor tells him something he never expected to hear. Ava owns the intellectual property for the algorithm. Charles's face turns pale. "What do you mean she owns it?" he snaps. The advisor explains calmly. "There's a clause in her contract, one you approved without reading carefully, that states any system she builds independently belongs to her, not to the company. Everything Ava created, everything Charles used to brag about, everything Logan depended on, all of it legally belongs to Ava." Charles feels blindsided, betrayed, powerless. For the first time in his life, his control is slipping through his fingers, and he can't stop it. He realizes Ava doesn't need him at all. She never did. And Ava, sitting in her small apartment with the sunlight coming through the window, finally understands something important. She is stronger than she ever believed. Stronger than her father. Stronger than the fear that controlled her for years. For the first time, she is living her own life, and she's not going back. Charles barges into Ava's small apartment with 2 lawyers behind him, shouting before the door even fully opens. His face is red with anger, and his voice fills the entire space. "How dare you do this to me?" he yells. "You think you can steal from my company? You think you can walk away without consequences?" The lawyers stand stiffly behind him, holding folders and papers, but even they look uncomfortable. Ava stays calm. She stands in the middle of her simple living room and looks straight at her father. This time, she does not shake. She does not lower her eyes. She is not the scared daughter he used to control. "You can't scare me anymore," she says softly. Charles steps closer, pointing a finger at her. "You destroyed everything. Investors are pulling out. The deal is falling apart. You will fix this right now." Ava sighs. "I didn't destroy anything. Logan tampered with my files. You humiliated me. You screamed at me for years. You pushed me out. This is the result of your actions." The room goes silent. Then the years of pain finally rise to the surface. Ava's voice cracks, but not from fear, from release. "Do you know what it felt like growing up in your house? Always being compared to Logan? Always being told to be perfect? Always being blamed for everything wrong?" Charles stiffens, but she continues. "You ignored me for years. You treated me like I didn't belong. You only talked to me when you wanted something. You punished me for being emotional. You made me feel like a burden. Like a mistake." Charles looks away, jaw tight. "You're overreacting." "No," Ava says firmly. "I am telling the truth." She takes a step closer to him. "You never cared about my work. You never cared about me. You only cared about control. All those nights I stayed up fixing the company's problems, you didn't even say thank you. You gave Logan everything. even when he didn't earn it. Charles finally snaps. Logan is the heir. He was always meant to take over. You were never. He stops himself, but Ava already knows what he was going to say. Go on, she whispers. Say it. Charles closes his eyes for a moment. Then he speaks the truth he had hidden for years. I never planned to let you have any stake in the company. Ava feels the final piece inside her fall into place. The last hope, the last wound, the last illusion. Thank you, she says quietly. Now I know. Charles pushes the lawyers forward. Sign these papers. Hand over the algorithm. It belongs to Morgan Logistics, not you. Ava steps back and shakes her head. It belongs to me, she says. Legally. Contractually. And you know that now. Charles's anger turns into panic. Ava, be reasonable. You're ruining everything. You don't understand the damage. She cuts him off. I know exactly what I'm doing. She walks to her table, picks up a document, and hands it to him. This will explain everything. Charles snatches the paper and reads it. His eyes widen as he reaches the last page. What is this? Ava looks at him without fear. It's the truth. The twist hits him harder than any argument. She didn't just withdraw the negotiation. She accepted a private offer from the same partner corporation. They offered her funding. They offered her a team. They offered her full control. And she said yes. I'm launching my own logistics tech startup, Ava says. And the $900 million deal will be done with my company, not yours. Charles's hands shake. No, they wouldn't. They already did, Ava says. They know my value. Something you never saw. For the first time in his life, Charles looks small, weak, defeated. His knees almost buckle, and he sinks onto Ava's sofa, staring at the papers in disbelief. His empire, the empire he built, protected, and controlled, is collapsing right in front of him. And the daughter he pushed away is the one rising. Ava stands strong, finally free from the weight of his shadow. Morgan Logistics collapses into scandal. News spreads fast. Articles appear everywhere about the failed deal, the missing leadership, and the chaos inside the company. Reporters begin digging into the family's history, exposing the favoritism, the toxic environment, and the truth about how Ava had been treated. Investors pull out one by one. Some sue the company. Others simply walk away. Without Ava's algorithm, without trust, and without direction, Morgan Logistics falls apart in a matter of weeks. Logan loses everything first. His heir status disappears overnight. The board removes him from every leadership role. People finally see him for what he was, someone who only survived on privilege, not skill. He tries to blame Ava, but no one listens anymore. For the first time in his life, Logan has to face the consequences of his actions. While the company crumbles, Ava's life begins moving in the opposite direction. With support from the partner corporation, she builds her own tech company, a place filled with bright, talented engineers who respect her and believe in her vision. Her new office is small but warm, filled with conversations, teamwork, and hope. People laugh here. People feel safe here. Ava makes sure of it, because she knows what it feels like to work under fear. She sets rules that protect everyone. No abuse. No favoritism. No voices ignored. She finally creates the environment she wished she had growing up. Slowly, Ava begins to heal. She starts therapy, something she avoided for years because she believed she had to stay strong. She allows herself to cry when she needs to. She makes new friends who understand her, who support her, who see her as a person and not a tool. Piece by piece, she rebuilds her identity, not as Charles Morgan's daughter, but as her own woman. As her company grows and her life becomes steady, Charles finally reaches out, not with anger or demands this time, but with a broken, tired voice. He asks to meet her. Ava agrees. He looks much older when she sees him. His shoulders are heavy, his eyes dull. The empire he used to control with iron hands is gone, and he knows he played a major role in its fall. I'm sorry, he whispers. It is not a strong apology. It is not perfect. It is full of pain and regret. I should have treated you better. I should have seen you. Ava listens quietly. She doesn't interrupt. She lets him say what he needs to say. But she no longer feels small in front of him. She no longer feels scared. When he finishes, she gives a gentle, honest answer. I hope you find peace, she says. But I can't go back. I've built a new life now, one that makes me happy. Charles nods, tears gathering in his eyes. He knows he has lost her, not out of anger, but because she finally chose herself. Ava walks away from the meeting with a calm heart. Not angry, not afraid, just free. Her past no longer controls her. Her future belongs only to her. Ava signs the final contract for her new company. The deal worth more than $900 million. Her hands are steady, her heart calm. She leans back in her chair for a moment, looking at the papers she has worked so hard to make possible. Every late night, every struggle, every insult and dismissal, it all led to this moment. She stands and walks to the window of her new office. The city stretches out below her, quiet now under the night sky. The lights twinkle like stars, and for the first time, she feels at peace. She feels proud. She feels free. Ava whispers to herself, almost like a secret she is sharing only with herself. Walking away saved me. No one forced her to stay in a place that never valued her. No one made her feel small anymore. She built this life with her own hands, with her own mind, and with her own courage. The past, her father's anger, her stepbrother's jealousy, the years of feeling invisible, they are behind her now. She doesn't need their approval. She doesn't need their praise. She only needs her own strength and her own vision. Ava takes a deep breath and smiles softly. She knows the road ahead will still have challenges, but for the first time, they feel different. Now she faces them as herself, whole, confident, and in control. The office is quiet, the city is calm, and Ava feels a sense of completion. She is no longer a shadow in someone else's world. She is the center of her own. And with that, she turns back to her desk, ready to lead her company, ready to make her mark, ready to live her life exactly the way she chooses. The story ends not with anger, not with revenge, but with dignity, strength, and a feeling of finally becoming whole. Hey besties! Thanks for sticking around till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.